Well, Rodge here. Welcome to Saga THORSDAY, the show all about the Saga miniature skirmish game published by Studio Tomahawk. I am joined once again by Mr. Monty. How are you, my friend?
Rodge, I'm doing super. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm pretty good. I am pretty darn good. Really glad to be getting back into it. We got a lot to discuss today. We got a little bit of Saga news. We got the Q&A with a bonus question this time. We got a new little segment I'm calling the Rewind. We're going to talk about a Saga video. You'll see what that's about when we get to it. We got our usual hobby progress. We've got games. We've got our topic today, which is going to be a tale of challenges, a breakdown analysis. This was your idea, and it was a good idea. It was on the list of things, and we pushed it to the front here. And it's a good scenario. We've played it a couple times since then. I'm assuming you have too. Is that right?
Oh, yes.
Okay, good. And then we got the paint contest as well. We've got 9 gorgeous entries, which is awesome. And we got to thank Gripping Beast for that, giving everybody the enticement to sign up and get in on the action. And so, yeah, we got 9 this time compared to 6 for the fall contest. And then there was just 5 for the first one, the summer contest. And one of those was yours, so it shouldn't even count, really. So I'm going to say 4
oh, ouch.
At that time. That was right before we started these the buddy monthlies. Oh, I like that, buddy monthly.
I do.
I'm going to have to call these the buddy monthlies. So let's kick it off with a little bit of Saga news. So nothing too special going on here, but I just want to talk about Adepticon 2020. So the doubles is full, the Age of Vikings is full, the Age of Magic has some spots left, 14 spots out of 40. So I'm running this one, so more people's more work. So if it doesn't fill up, I'm okay with that. But as far as keeping our space at the Adepticon and stuff, we want to fill these up and show the organizers that Saga is pulling its weight of sign up. So definitely consider that. It's going to be real fun, real laid back, real casual. Age of Magic run by me. And then we do have 13 spots left on Saturday for the Age of Crusades.
Nice.
So that is good as well. Show some love. Saturday's a busy day, I get it, but come on, you got to get your Saga on, right?
That's right. Yeah. Come on down.
Yeah, absolutely. You can definitely just show up for one day and play Saga. So that's an option. I think it's just $20 to get in. And then another $20. I mean, it's a little pricey, but it's worth it. It's worth it, right?
It really is. It's an amazing event. And even if you just walk through and scope it, like if you're thinking about doing Saga one day, come on down, because honestly, people come through, look, and they're like, what do I need to do to join?
Yeah.
And we'll help set you up.
We'll get you hooked up. And the interesting thing, and if I lived down in Chicago, I might just do this, but you don't actually have to pay for a badge to get in necessarily. So to get into like the exhibitor hall, they're checking for that, and then to actually sign up for events and stuff, you have to pay. But you could just show up and hang out in the evenings as well.
Yeah.
So that's an option out there as well.
Yep. Night Saga.
Night Saga, you called it. So that is our little bit of news. So let's jump to the comments from last time. What do you say, buddy?
Let's make the jump. I'm looking.
Okay. We'll start chronologically here. Alan writes, so we had the camel horse debate was raging at the end of the episode. Alan jumps in. Camels are definitely harder to paint than horses. Of course, there's the possibility in Age of Hannibal of having chariots, which are harder than camels. So have you painted a chariot, Monty?
I have painted chariots in 15 millimeter. I did paint one chariot. I was doing it for my Pics. I wanted to try the Warlord on a chariot, and it is a little fiddly. You got 2 horses, you got the wagon, you got the Warlord, you got the driver, and then if you want to add some like heads hanging off of it. So yeah, that takes longer than 1 horse or 1 camel.
Yeah,
for sure.
You gotta paint them separately.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, did you do that or?
So I am a production painter. I think I went ahead and slapped it all together, glued it, and then I might have done I think I did the warlord separate because he was he was a pic, so he was naked. But the horses, yeah, you got to work to get all those angles in there. So it is probably better to do it separate, but there's a lot of bits, and I wanted to make sure they all went together, and I'm moving quick, so I think I did everything but the warlord, then bring him in at the end.
Mm-hmm. Wow, brave man. Yeah, well, there's enough there that you can get hemmed in on the side, the inner sides of the horses.
Yep.
And you can't get your brush in there, but you can plainly see it, which is like the devil. So I hate painting models separately and putting them together, or pieces of the model. So I always glue the shields on. Some people, you can't get back there with the brush, but you can't see back there either. So I'm in that camp. It's a good camp to be in. So yeah, I think the chariots will supersede all. So we had the Cajun Cooper's workshop, and he had a question last time about the warlord and the hits, and so he's just looking for confirmation. And then thanks to Vorthrax for jumping in here. And everything in Saga just has 1 hit point, so that's a little different than other games. So yeah, once resilience and bodyguards are exhausted as options, you go down with that single hit going through.
That's right.
Okay. We had some painting goals last time, which I'm going to jump into mine when we get to that portion. But the original Monkey Car says his painting goals for 2020 are to finish a Norman Crusader army, followed by Scots and Pics. And he's looking forward to the new Age of Invasions book. And then if Age of Hannibal arrives, it would be rude not to buy an army for that. And his paint pile will never be empty. So, wow, that is awesome. Three war bands. Hopefully he's got some of that assembled and primed and ready to go here, but that is awesome to hear. And please chime in with your progress, Monkey Car. If you are succeeding, we're all succeeding, and maybe we'll be motivated by your efforts. Okay, Herkus Monty, our good friend over there with his own Saga channel. The only full warband I painted up this year were the Cumans. The rest was just filling up other warbands, and for 2020, he'll aim for an Age of Hannibal warband. And great episode as usual. He's been painting and playing Kings of War recently, but last episode got his Saga mojo back. So, yeah, he's been a little busy. We're going to record another faction review at some point, Mr. Herkus, Monty, and I, but he's got to get back into the action. And did you see his Cumans, Monty?
Yes, they're gorgeous. If you're going to do one warband in a year, do it like him, because they were mods, and they really turned out beautiful.
Yeah, they're really cool looking. So you can head on over to his YouTube channel, check out those guys. And this one's juicy here. So we got Cyberpunk Cyber, cool name. Not Saga appropriate, but we welcome the input. So he's new to Saga, played a couple games. He's watched all my videos. He thinks they're helpful and interesting. With all respect, want to give a tip about shields. So English, I don't think is his first language. And then like my little app here just cut off. So I was like, what, a tip about shields? What kind of tips are you looking for, buddy? But if you click to read more, then he has a huge breakdown about the kind of Slavic shields, maybe anachronisms and stuff like that, realistic shields. And so some of my Eastern heathens had the metal edges on them. So I am aware that the metal edges are not really accurate, because I found this out when I was painting my men of Wessex, and I think some of them I did paint with metal edges, but then I got some gripping beast ones that didn't, and then I'm like, well, how should I be painting these? And then I actually did some research. So usually they just have leather, or the canvas, whatever just goes to the edge. Mm-hmm. So at one point I was considering. So these are the gripping beasts, the square shields with the huge basically
Yes.
a metallic edge on it is what it's supposed to be. So I'm like, I know it's not supposed to be metal, but should I do a leather? And then I did paint one like a light brown, and I'm like, that doesn't look right. So I just did the metal shields. I like those shields. They're kind of cool looking. They're different and differentiate them. But thank you for all the feedback, though. And the information he provided was really cool. And he had some links there. And it was a really good read. And I thank you, good sir, for providing the information to us. And much appreciated. All right. We've got, am I correct that you mentioned Age of Carthage? Is it Ancients on the way? That's from Marcus Sharaput. And Age of Hannibal. We haven't gotten any news about anything recently. So Adepticon's coming up quick. That doesn't mean a book is coming out. It's come out the last 2 years. So you're kind of hopeful that something's coming out, but I guess we won't know for sure. Vorthrax chimed in. He's saying the 2020 Saga World Cup will be held at Millennium Con in Round Rock, Texas. So we just barely got that right. It took a couple tries to get the information out there, but Vorthrax is the fella basically running it, I believe. So we're going to be scheduling a chat about that in the near future. And he also chimed in on our Rise of the Spirits conundrum, which was the Titan transformed from terrain for the Lords of the Wild and moving into terrain. And, once it goes back to terrain, what is it? So his terrain answer is probably better than what we came up with. So he just has whatever's on top is what counts as the terrain, and you ignore what's underneath. So
that would work.
Very simple. Doesn't require a lot of brain power. I like it. Alan Wright. So he chimed in here. Last time I just talked about his Twitch channel. So he just popped on here with his schedules, which is Tuesday, Thursday evenings, 5 to 7 Eastern, Sundays midday. He's painting models, and he did paint for our paint contest here. He does have a submission. So, and he said he painted that entirely on the Twitch stream. So,
oh, wow.
And it was like 25 hours or something like that. So that's pretty cool. Getting it on. And then he chimes in with his 2019 totals, 138 figs. Do you think you got him beat, Monty? 138?
I think so. I used to keep spreadsheets, and at some point, I just kind of pushed that aside. I just keep moving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Spreadsheets, younger man's game. I get it. I'm just getting into it.
Don't have time for spreadsheets. I'm painting.
And then. Yeah, so he has a couple more comments, but I think that's about it. We've had enough comments for today.
Yep, that's a lot.
If you are interested in getting your thoughts on the airwaves here, just post below with whatever you're thinking, and we'll get to it. Okay, so we got a new segment. I'm calling this the Rewind. Maybe I'll come up with a cooler name. Maybe not. You never know. But since last time I came out with a THORSDAY video, Campaigns with Wojciech. Did you see that one, Monty?
Yes, I did. That was a great one.
Okay. What were your thoughts on that video?
Well, so I always have my eyes open for like a campaign that I can run, meaning like it's a light touch. The second part you guys talked about there is how do you keep the newer players who might be losing more than they're winning? Like you don't want to punish them to such a point where like, hey, I don't even want to come out. I mean, I'm losing all my games, and the better players are getting more cool buffs, and so he had an answer for that. Right. And how do you make it interesting enough to get people out? And I think he's checked all those boxes. The one piece, like I would still like to work out, I see people use very nice maps, and I have not figured out like where or how are they working that, like in Adobe? Are they working that in Microsoft Painter? I have no idea. I think the maps are pretty slick. I think that helps pull people in, and that's a piece I would like to figure out before I run my own campaign someday.
Yeah, I believe that's probably just done in like Photoshop or Paint or what have you. I mean, that'd be a pretty niche program, like a campaign creator pro. I mean, there's enough people out there that something could exist like that, maybe for like D&D or something. But if anybody knows anything like that, that would be awesome to have like a full luscious map that you can see where your guys are controlling all the different areas and stuff, and it looks really cool. But all you have to do is just like click around to make it happen. So cool. Have you done a Saga campaign then?
So
like at any point?
Yeah, we've done Age of Wolves twice, and they both went pretty well. I think you've probably seen this if you ran Age of Wolves. So I like Age of Wolves. I feel like it was not baked quite all the way, not as a criticism, but like when we would play it, that was a good example of one where the rich get richer, and then there are people running around with just like beat war bands, like they can barely put models on the table, and you're like putting out like 4-point war band, and the other person has more, and it's like they're just getting clobbered. So yeah, but it was still good. It was still fun, and we made it through 2 campaigns locally. I do want to try something different. I do want to, like what he was talking about was kind of a home cooked variation where he took a little of this, he took a little of that, made his own. I like that. I like the idea of like keep it simple, like pick the best, keep your players interested, and give it a go.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been talking to some of the guys around here, and after Adepticon, I'm thinking we might just get a campaign going for the probably Crusades is kind of what we're thinking loosely right now. But if Hannibal comes out between now and then, you never know what could happen there. So yeah, the Age of the Wolf, there's a lot of good ideas in there. I like how it's almost like a game into itself. Yeah. It's kind of like a board game almost, or something.
It is.
Or like a card game or something like that, and then you have the battles as well. But it's important not to lose track of the point is to play the battles.
Yes.
And then well, that's some good advice there about the downtrodden players. So I'll have to spitball. There is like a lot to read there in that book. It's a pretty crunchy tome, despite being quite short. Like you got to read all of it.
You do.
Sad to say. So yeah, we'll have to come up with a couple ideas to make sure everybody stays in there. So it's kind of almost counterintuitive, where the people getting beat should probably get like more stuff than the people who are winning, so it's a balancing act for sure.
Agree. It is. I liked your idea. You had a pro tip that someone who loses, maybe they're not getting some of the goodies, but you give them a different kind of goodie, and you talked about having like key re-rolls that could really help them out.
So that's what we did in a couple different campaign. We did do a Saga one really, really early to get some new guys in, and then we had like a Warhammer one too. And so the more you got beat, the more rerolls you got, and it really made the games like a lot. It was like a lot harder to beat those guys. If they got like 10 rerolls, so they have like a little pile of cards or something to, and so every time you're about to kill a guy, they get the reroll and he just scoots off. So cool. Well, thanks again to Wojciech for piping in. Okay, well, that's enough of that, Monty. How's the Saga hobby progress been?
So my part of that discussion will be quite short. For me, January could be described as all quiet on the Saga front. I did a little bit. I like my other worlds, and I wanted to build out my heavy weapon warriors. But Mantic doesn't really make those for the Abyssal Dwarves, so I grabbed some long-beard shield breakers and then did some head swaps and some mods to make them into Abyssal. So I at least did the mods. They're primed. I'm working on some objectives for my other world and also a sorcerer, but really no painting, just a little bit of hobbying. And the rest of the time is finishing up my big partisan build for Bolt Action and Adepticon. That should be done in a couple 3 weeks, and then I can kind of turn all my fire back to Saga.
Okay, cool. Are you going to have something that you need to get done for Adepticon? It's coming up
I
quick.
have some, yeah, it is coming up quick, but I want to, like, I always like have like ideas at the last minute. So like I want to buff out what I'm bringing. I'm still not 100% locked down on what I'm bringing for Age of Viking. I know what I'm doing for Age of Magic, and like I said, I want to get my objective markers themey for the other world for your event. So they'll be number one. The your event is like I got to do a little bit of work for, and then buff out my Age of Vikings just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, but TikTok, it's getting close.
I know. Thankfully it's at the very end of March this year, so you got like a full March. Sometimes it's like, like the 18th or 19th or something. So like you think you got it, when you're quickly calculating everything, you're like, oh, I got March yet, and then you're like, oh, it's like 2 weeks because you don't even have the full week. You got to leave in the middle of the week to get down there. So
exactly,
it is the end of March this year, thankfully. So I'm in a not too dissimilar boat to you. So in January, we had the big last Wapaka tournament. So have you gone to Apaka? Because there was some Saga stuff going on at somewhat like a convention style.
Right. I missed the first year they rolled out Saga, and I think it came and went kind of quickly for the event.
Yeah, it was just 2 years. Yeah.
Okay. Shoot, I must have missed 2 then. I never made it out, but I did see, like, in my Twitter feed, people were jazzed. They loved it. You do a great job, Rodge. Very nice. People love the event, and they finished with a bang. All positive reviews.
Excellent. Well, yeah, tons of the Twin City guys came. Eric Hagen brought his Undead Force, which he painted up. It was double. It was Age of Sigmar, and then it's going to be used in the Age of Magic tournament as well.
Clever.
So, like probably like 80 ghouls that he converted like 15 years ago or something. So like the old Games Workshop metal ones, they're really cool models. I would definitely consider like trying to get my hands on those again. But so that was a big, basically Age of Sigmar event I run every year. Started as Warhammer, and then even once I stopped playing, I kept running it. And then this is the last year. I'm like, I can't keep doing it. So that was the 11th one. Big event. Was a lot of prep work. Cut down on paint time for sure. And then the worst part was Monday morning afterwards. Woke up with virulent case of the Pack of Plague, the post-tournament plague, which kind of knocked me out for another week. So it took about 2 or 3 weeks out of my schedule. So
Yikes.
Last time I had the 4 levy guys finished. I have the unit of 12 finished now as well. They were just finally gloss varnished and hit them with that juicy matte coat, so they're good to go. The second half, the other levies, they were base coated, and then as of this recording, I went in and did all the hems and stuff, and then did the airbrush work on them. But I got caught halfway through, so I have to do a little more airbrushing on them, like the final darkest shades, and then so by the time this airs, I'm hoping that part is done, and then I can just get into the detail work. And then hopefully, if I'm going to stay on track for Acon, they got to be done by the Wolves tournament, which is like the week after this. So it's kind of taken me a long time, even though they're base coated, because I'm trying to find the right color combinations.
Yeah.
And so I started with like super red, super blue, and super green. And then I'm like, these are nice. I like how bright they are, but I need more variation. So I went in, and then it's going to be the same red, blue, and green, but with a couple drops of the pale skin, which is the white color that I'm using. So it's going to be on the same wavelength.
Okay.
And then it knocks them all pastel too. So historical figs look really good in pastel colors. Just the FYI. I knew that, and at some point I was considering doing them all pastels, and then I kind of forgot about that. And then once I did this, I remember that, oh yeah, I was going to try to do pastels. But when I was using scale color 75 paints, and so I just wanted to use them straight out of the bottle. And so they don't have any pastels like straight out of the bottle in that color range. So I think that's why I didn't do it in the end. But so this way it's going to give me more color combinations. You're going to have like a dark blue, a light blue. And then the way with the airbrush works, the lighter their clothes, like the better it looks, because you get like a brighter to darker versus kind of the red and the blue guys are kind of like dark, and then it kind of just goes to a mid-tone and kind of stops. So it's not a golden demon type thing you want to do, but it looks good. I mean, they still look good.
Yes,
so I'll bring them to the tournament. You can look at them and give me some feedback.
Looking forward to that, Rodge.
Yeah, but then just doing so everybody has a hem, so like some freehand, whatever ribbons around, and so I do like 10 of them, and then I just pick some colors. And like you should just be able to do whatever, and it should look all right. But like I'm too anal retentive. Like it doesn't. I'm like, okay, well that yellow and that blue don't look right on the green guy, so I have to switch the blue for the red and stuff. So I'm trying to like crack the code on that, and I don't feel like I've done it yet. And I spent just extra days, trying to figure out what to do, because then on top of that you have the shields then on some of them, and then well, what color do you paint the shields? Does it have to match the guys' colors already? So I'm trying to crack the code. I remember having this similar issue on the Men of Wessex. I don't know. So what do you do for like a faction like this, or do you really stick to just a few colors? I mean, I'm deliberately trying to make them really colorful because I thought the Men of Wessex were really muted, and they're well painted, but I thought they were muted and kind of the details got lost on them. So I wanted to do the opposite with these guys. But what advice do you have for a young soul like mine, Monty?
Right. I mean, there's so many options. There are some war bands that lend themselves to doing like a uniform look. And so like when I did my Spanish, one of my favorite things was I was like, this is a war band that's been pulled together by a king who has some money. And unlike most of these, he's kind of given the uniform. So I made everything, I made their outfits black and yellow. And then I think I maybe even carried that into the shields, which is really close. You're flying close to the sun. It's almost too much. But when I pushed it on the table, I thought that looks good. And I think another time I tried it in red and yellows. But at the other end of the continuum, like if you're doing like here's all themey, the other one is just like you're kind of random. Well, as my son once called it, when he was very young, he walked in when I was painting Gauls. Every figure's different. There's no theme. It's all random. And he was like, that looks like a clown army. And I'm like, ooh, ouch. And I never did that
burn.
Again. Right? But it is. It's the burn of truth because it's too random. So what I do is even when I do my when I don't have a real color theme and I'm just kind of popping them out, trying to keep them like in semi-dark range colors with some pop. I always cheat a little bit because the gaming rooms, the gaming halls can be a little dark. So I cheat towards the brighter and a little bit of pop in color.
I think that's good.
But I also do another cheat, which is there's so much to look at with these kind of wild war bands that I try to find colors to repeat. And I realize there's so many ways you can come at this, but I will repeat the same color for belts and shoes. And it's subtle enough when you put it at 3 feet that like you don't pick that out, but there it is. It's like you at least have some underlying theme and repeat, whereas you could do black, you could do 5 shades of brown.
You
right.
Would, like, kill yourself if you did that.
Yeah.
Well, so this guy's got a brown belt, and his is like a red leather versus a brown leather.
Exactly. So it's and then the very last thing I'd sneak in is I've seen people do this and it turns out really effective, like a way to split the baby, so to speak, is you paint your warband and it's kind of randomness, but then you kind of pretend like the Jarl said, hey, everyone, we're going to go to Bob's shield painting, and you might do black and white theme for your Vikings. Jason Meyer has Vikings that all have black and white theme, all of the shields with blood splatter, and it's just really, it just shines, right? And then I've also, one time I went in with my Welsh, and I wasn't happy with them, so I popped all the shields off, put all new shields on them, and then put black and yellow little big man shield transfers. Yes, a cheat. But put their Irish themes ones, so they all were black and yellow. So as a warband, when you're looking at them, you see the unity of the shields facing you, and then behind it is the randomness of everyone has different hair, everyone has different colored clothes. So that's a way to bring some unity in, at the finish line for a wild and woolly warband.
Okay. Well, yeah, those are great tips, great ideas. So I am using some of that on these guys. So the browns are just all the brown, the belts and shoes and crap are just all the same brown. I am trying to limit the palette a little bit, so there's not any orange in here. Now, I don't know why, but I just don't like orange on historical models. I don't know. I'm pretty sure they had orange, and they probably wore a lot of orange. But something about it, I'm like, they shouldn't have any orange. And then no purple, which I know that has historical because purple was hard to find.
Yep.
So it was just emperors and stuff. So like my warlords, the Saga THORSDAY warlord, he kind of has some purple on him. And then I'll probably do the same for these guys. So I'm kind of limiting the colors. And then yellow, I'm not doing anybody in a full yellow shirt or pants, anything like that, but some of the accents will be yellow. And then on the shields, so what I've done so far, and so these are the peons, so their shields aren't going to be as fancy. So they're just getting quarters and like halves, and nothing too fancy. So I've been doing just a red or a blue or a primary color. And then the other half is like black or white. So, they all have the black shading. And then the white is the same, like white on all of them. So that's kind of trying to tie it all together.
Yeah.
Those are my ideas so far. But the kind of hem thing has me for a loop. So we can look at them further, spitball at the winter tournament coming up here.
Yes.
So... for my hobby progress, though, that is 12 models finished. I think I just threw out like 100 in the last episode that I wanted to get painted for the year. So I'm going to stick to that. So I'm 12 out of 100 so far. Cha-ching.
Nice.
All right. All right. Well, hopefully we get some more hobby in going forward. But did you get any games in at least, my friend?
Oh, I got in a crazy amount of games. I got in like 5 Age of Viking and 3 Age of Magic. And wow, it's just fun, right?
Wow.
Seriously.
That's a lot of Saga, man.
Those Saga Sundays, I always try to make sure I get 2 games in. So
that's the dream.
I love the back-to-back games. Get spanked in one and then come back for a win in game 2. It always feels good, right? So so lots and lots of games. So many games I don't want to just talk
it would be
about
tough
games,
to get through them all. But any
it would.
lessons overall or themes? You did a multiplayer game, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. So we did a couple 4-player games. We did a 4-player game for Age of Viking because we had a new player, and he enjoyed that. And it was I think we had like 2 Yams players, a Viking player, and I think Pagan Rus. So it was all the runes were flying and very choppy, very fun. We did a 4-player Age of Magic because we had a couple of newer Age of Magic players, father and son team, with some nice, really nicely painted models. It's that's one of the things I love Saga, but like the secret ingredient that Age of Magic brings is the fantasy element, and people bringing out like Lord of the Rings army. They're bringing out their Games Workshop fantasy painted to like the highest level. And I looked over at one of my games. I'm playing, some Age of Magic with my stuff, and I look over and I'm like, holy hell, that is nice. I mean, and it's like, my friend Paul's like, yeah, I won best painted with this. I'm like, I'm sure you did. That is amazing.
The best part
done.
is like, it's been in the closet for the last 7 years. Yeah.
I know, that's so sad, but at least it's out of the closet. It just looks amazing. So yeah, it's been great. And I dabbled in a couple of the Book of Battle scenarios, and I'm learning. Like we're going to do a little piece on the Tale of Challenges, and one of the things that I've learned, I finally beat it into my head, is probably don't choose 4 challenges, because 4 challenges is a lot. It is, and I end up not checking all those boxes, and it's not uncommon to like get 2 out of 4, and guess what? That means you're doing crappy when you get to the finish line, and you're getting pluses, minuses, and you're going to probably lose if you can't do it. So
interesting. Well,
yeah,
I don't know if I can condone that, but we'll have a good chat.
Plus,
for sure.
minus when we get there. Anyway, so lots of Saga, lots of fun. And then we've got the big event coming up here. So it'll be a full day where I get to be a TO and walk around. The stress will be on you guys, not so much on me, unless the laptop freezes up. Then the stress will be on me.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. So for the multiplayer, did you play like a Book of Battles scenario, or did you guys just like set up and just start pushing forward and killing?
Yeah. Exactly, because they're newer players. I mean, I love the Book of Battles and I like explaining it, but really because they were so green, we one of them actually, though, we did put the objectives, the one with the 3 objectives in the middle of the table. Now that I think about it, so the Age of Vikings, we put that out there. And it was kind of like last man left, got the objective. And the Age of Magic, we asked, they're like, yeah, let's just do Clash of Warlords. We're like, yep, let's do this. And we're going to, turn 6, we'll call it and see where we're at with slaughter points. So kept it simple.
Cool. Well, that's awesome. I'm glad you're getting a ton of Saga in, because I think the last month you didn't really have anything under the belt, if I recall.
It was embarrassing, a little quiet. It was a busy December, didn't get out for games, so.
Cool. Well, I got some games in as well.
Nice.
I got 4 games in. I'll just maybe do a quick highlight for each. So I played against Vikings. I played Jeremy, and he was using just Zach's Vikings. He didn't have his models for some reason. And then I just grabbed all the battle boards that were possible to use with my models, and I'm like, well, why don't you pick one here, Jeremy? And so I flipped them upside down and pick your death. And he picked the Pagan Peoples board. So we did Pagan Peoples versus the Vikings, and it was an awesome game. So I used the same composition, 2 levy with the javelins, and then some warrior. I think I had Hearthguard with some Dane axes thrown in there for funsies. But I had all six man units, including the levies. So I think I had 10 units generating Saga dice at the start, and it was fun. I actually didn't roll a lot of rares. A lot of the activations and stuff require the rares, so I didn't roll those, but it was still a good enough board. There's some definitely some powerful abilities. So first turn, he was still smarting from the last time we played. We're kind of having like these extreme terrain offs where he was playing his Pics. In the first game, he got a big woods in the middle, which is what he wanted, and then we did the cards for Battle of Heroes, and then I got to pick the terrain. So the next time we played, there was just two swanties in the middle, 2 swamps, and so he couldn't use anything, and he was kind of ornery about that. And then so this game he got to pick, and then he's like, I know you want woods, so he just put the way that it worked out, he got to control, so he put a terrain piece in each corner. And so it's just a wide open field. I think we were doing Clash of Warlords or something. I don't remember what it was, but so he put that down. And then first turn, though, I can teleport through the woods there.
Yep.
And then so just a unit of 6 levies. snuck across the back lines, and then javelin the berserkers to death on the first turn
no.
in the backfield. There's some good shooting abilities in the board, and then so he's like, whatever, this isn't going well. So he pushed it forward, and then I just kind of pushed forward as well, and then I'm throwing javelins. I'm leaving everybody within charge range. I'm feeling good. And then on his turn, he rolls the two rares. And then I'm like, oh, no.
Here it comes.
So, he just, everything charged, everything until it was exhausted. And all the levy units were, obliterated, because it's just 6 levies. So it's
Right.
nothing. And he just moves on to the next one.
Yep.
And then and he just has a couple units left exhausted. So I went from generating 10 Saga dice down to 3 on my next turn.
Oh my gosh. That might be a record.
Yeah. But, he took himself down enough, I was putting in my hits, and then his units were exhausted. So I mopped up what was left. And then basically he had his warlord and a unit kind of looking 18 inches away from my warlord, and then just a few more units, a few more models, so just on the massacre, the pagan peeps came out ahead. But
nice.
That was amazing.
He got his licks in.
So
good job.
After that, the scenarios for the Winter Wolves tournament were announced. So I saw that we were playing Old Feud, and I hadn't gotten that in yet. So I played as Vikings. So I'm going to be using Vikings at the tournament. Again, Sam's Pagan Rus, so he's going to be using those guys. And we played the Old Feud. So he chose the Brute, and then I chose the Traitor. So, but I don't know, looking at that, it seems like the Brute, you want that guy.
Yeah.
Because he's got good armor.
Yep.
He's got all the abilities that everybody else does, determination, resilience, and then he just has a crap load of attacks.
Yes.
The Traitor thing was nice. I picked him because he had good armor, and then his ability is he can put fatigue on enemy units, which I use quite frequently. He was camped out in a swamp, and then there's a lot of fights happening around him, so he could keep just bringing everybody down. But so that ability was cool, but he just had 2 attacks, so it didn't make up for that. And then the Soldier is the other guy who has good armor, and but you can't get him away when you need him to, because he wants to fight.
Exactly.
So between the 3 fighty guys, which I think you want.
Yep.
The Brute is obviously better than those 2.
Yep.
Based off the reason. I don't know. Have you the other ones?
Yeah. If I could sneak in one other option that is actually, in my mind, my opponent picked him, and I was like, he picked the Counselor, and if I remember the Counselor right, they give you a We Obey, and they give you a Saga die.
Yeah.
Holy heck! Over 6 turns. That's a huge boost. He was extra resting people, extra doing this, extra doing that. And I thought, okay, next time that's going to be in my top 3. Certainly I'd say top 4. But yeah, and the Brute, I love the Brute. I kept him, I held him back a little bit, which maybe is not the way to do it because he's heavy weapon. You want to be up there probably chopping. But I left him so my opponent could take an open shot at him. And my opponent kind of shied away from it till the very end of the game, and I think it was simply because it would be like punching a porcupine. You can get your licks in, but you're going to get damaged trying to take the Brute out. Yeah,
because he's armor 5 even with the heavy weapon.
Yep.
So it's basically a warlord. So that you just typically you can't do it on the first try against the warlord, unless you got something good in the old battle board. And then so you're just going to take a pummeling in return.
Yep.
So Yeah, we had a good game. Both of our guys lived in the end inside the box, so it came down to VPs. Just slightly came out on top. I did have an amazing Berserker Tail. So went in against his 6 Hearthguard. Yeah, 6, maybe 8. I think it was just 6. And piled in there. We had the Uller, the Valhalla, the +3. I think I sacrificed 3. So I got 25 wounds on him. I got everything. But he had closed ranks. So, and that's all he had was just closed ranks. And he saved 21 of the 25.
Come on.
That was amazing to see. It made it a good game because otherwise I would have blown it wide open for me. But so the trade wasn't there. We both lost 4 Hearthguard, but my guys popped, and then he was still generating Saga die. But yeah, if you can close ranks, you just never know what's going to happen there, buddy.
It's true.
I got a game after that against Jeremy. He was running Welsh, and I was running the Vikings against them. So that was a very interesting game. So I hadn't played the Welsh since the 2nd edition. So I could see how it would be very difficult to play against them. If your opponent is good and patient, they can just pluck at you, and with their reactions, you have to commit all your dice on your board, but he doesn't have to commit any of the reactions until he sees your plan. So it's really hard to pin down. Now, that said, the Vikings, I think, do have the tools. You can do multiple activations, slough fatigue. You're actually can be really hitty when you get there still. Unlike, say, like the Danes, where I don't feel so good about my chances if playing my Danes against the Welsh.
Right. And you have Odin, so you can shut down his one big Hearthguard shooting.
So that is a very powerful ability as well. And depending on the timing of that one, I ended up popping that when he did a reaction with his shooting. I used the Odins, and then I moitilated that unit. With the Odins, the hittiness of the Vikings, and being able to get out there, I think it's a decent matchup. But very cool to see the Welsh board in play. You play those guys, right?
I do.
You've been known to push them around.
Yeah, I've given them a rest for a while. Your buddies eventually get a little. They're like, okay, let's see something else. So.
I could see that, buddy. But it was a good game. So, again, just snuck it out over Jeremy. Last one, I had a Vikings on Vikings. Tale of Challenges, mirror match against Zach.
Oh, okay.
And he actually came out ahead on the cards. He had a slight advantage because he got more points. We both completed 2 and failed 2. And he came out on top. So at the end, I was desperately trying to kill 75 points or 75% of my models. So it's actually, you got to get a lot of guys killed.
You do.
To achieve that objective. So I was like halfway through and I'm like, oh man, I'm doing too good here. Like I just got to start Valhalla in and moving up. But I came out on the VP. So that was a good game, Zach. Interesting to play a mirror match in Saga.
Yeah.
Have you played a lot of those?
Almost never. We, for whatever reason, when we walk up, we just tend to try different ones. But that is interesting to do. As a matter of fact, though, I say that, and guess what? Tomorrow I have a mirror match set up with a player, and I'm going to run Vikings against his Vikings. So. Oh,
cool!
Right.
So yeah, that's going to be great. Yep. Especially with the Vikings, I think is a fun one. Trying to out Vike the other guy.
Yes.
It's definitely feels. Saga can feel like chess, but it definitely feels like chess when you're playing against the same war band. So it's a really cool exercise. I recommend getting that in. And
awesome.
At the winter tournament, round 1, I'm going up against Hagen with his Vikings. He challenged me out, so we're gonna have another Viking off.
Right.
So you're gonna have to let me know how your Viking battle goes. I haven't figured out the secret sauce to the Viking battle yet. It's a lot of tit for tat in our game for sure.
Yeah, I have an idea, but my idea is I got to field test them, and sometimes I take them out in the field and it doesn't work the way I think it is in my mind. I'm not like a heavy Viking player, and my buddy is not a heavy Saga player, which is part of the reason we're doing Viking. So I want to kind of play with like an idea of maybe saving Valhalla and using it like as a defensive way that when you go to hit me, I'm going to take like some guys with me simply by boosting my dice. If I have a fatigue and you're going to be, chewing me up anyways, I want to like a porcupine, I want to bristle up and inflict some pain. But, we'll see. Like you said, it is a mirror match. So let's see how that works.
No, that's a great idea for teaching new players, because then instead of having two boards going on, he can see, he's got the same thing essentially, and you can see what you did, and then he can immediately do that on his turn if he likes how it worked out. It's a lot less symbols, perhaps, going on. You got the dice and everything. Yeah, that's a great idea. I bet that'll be a blast. Okay, well, that is it for games. It's been good.
That's a lot of games, a lot of goodness.
Yeah. Let's do, we'll do the Tale of Challenges stuff, and then we'll close it out with the paint contest. Well, how does that sound, bud?
That sounds awesome. Okay. I'm in.
Oh, all right. I was going to shut it down, but you're in. Let's do it.
Keep rolling.
Okay. Well, a Tale of Challenges. So this is a great scenario. We talked about it, I think, at least twice so far already. I've got the cards for it on the Rodge Rules website. So Monty printed those out, and it's a scenario in the Book of Battles. And basically you lay out your goals at the start of the battle. You're going to fight, kill each other, get points for that, and then you're going to get bonus objectives. So you're picking your objectives. So we're going to talk about these objectives because just as a courtesy to yourself and your opponent, you want to think about these ahead of time, because if you're trying to decide like in a crunch, especially like at a tournament or something, you're just going to spend like a good 10 minutes just flipping back and forth. So I do recommend the cards because you can just set them aside if you don't want them for sure, or if you're going to select them for sure. So you can just narrow down your options, where if you're just looking at the chart in the book, you just keep scanning up and down, rereading the same things over and over and coming to the same conclusions, but you can't quite decide because a lot of, some are pretty hard and then some are really hard, and like you're not quite sure, but you got to do some of them. Yes. So what are your thoughts here, Monty? Just in general, and then we'll go in and do maybe just a little blurb about each one, but general thoughts.
So 100% agree with you. It's not a bad idea. I went ahead and prepared a little table because we have an event in a couple weeks. And that way, like, our players can print out the table. They can highlight it. They can, like you said, you can kind of puzzle out, like maybe you pick your top 4 or 5. And then instead of like reading for 10 minutes and like kind of like really trying to brainstorm this on the go, you can like look at your opponent and then look at your like highlighted ones, like what you think works with your build and your playing style, and drill right down and make a quicker pick. I would also really super highly recommend, second your recommendation, to grab the cards. I played this a couple times without cards, and so then I scribble on a piece of paper. My handwriting is terrible. I've issued 3 challenges. I'm bashing, and then all of a sudden I look down. I'm like, what am I doing again? And I barely can read my own handwriting. So the cards are super helpful, especially if you can print out the full set, so you could like keep track of like, what is my opponent trying to do, and look down at a glance and go, oh yeah, here's the 3 things I'm trying to do. So the cards are huge.
Awesome. Yeah, I totally agree with what you said there. So you should have a few based off your army and your build that you're going to do for sure. And then some of them are like conditional then based off who you're going to. So some of them are going to be pretty easy or pretty difficult depending on your opponent's battle board on whether you could do them or not. And then as I was going through these, I was kind of trying to sort through them. And they really, I don't know if you maybe came to this conclusion too, but you can kind of pick objectives that are basically kind of in sync with each other. And you can basically, you can either just kill the enemy. So there's a bunch of objectives that go well with that. So basically it would just be like your normal game plan. So you could just play the game as normal. And then as you're killing the enemy, you're just getting additional points for wiping out units or killing their warlord or whatever. But you can play it basically a defensive game, basically a hiding game where you're probably not engaging that much. So there's kind of two. You could pick the hide ones or the kill ones, I think. But if you probably cross and pick some of each, you're probably going to be like at odds with what you're trying to do.
Agree. Agree. And Rodge, if I could sneak in, like this is a really good point. Like the defensive side, like there's the game within the game, and I would say if you're playing a Scots player and you know like they're defensive to start with, right? No surprise. And then they're picking like all defensive plays. You could choose to, like you said earlier, mirror match that and say, you know what? I'm not going to like play a game of I have to come smash your brick face, right? I'm going to pick defensive too. And if you want to win, you're going to have to come out of your turtle shell and come fight, right? I mean, that's like a game within the game. I mean, otherwise, like if they set up in rocky ground and they're Scots and they just turtle up, I mean, that sounds kind of boring to me. So
yeah, I think this scenario does have the potential to be like a non-game if both players want that.
Yeah.
Or maybe even if like one player really wants that, it's really hard for the other guy to kind of get at them to like achieve the objectives and deny the other guy's objectives can be really difficult. So far I've really just played it to kill and kind of the objectives have been secondary, but as I'm going through it, I think you could really play to it without necessarily having that boring, the hiding game objectives kind of overruling everything. But
agree.
So why don't we, I guess, just kind of dive into a few of these, give our thoughts. There's 12 of them, if I recall.
Yep.
And so I'm just we can just do these in the order that they're in the book there. So
sounds good.
First one is I will outlive you. Your warlord was not eliminated during the game is your accomplishment. Now, obviously, just cowering back in the field there would be a good play. So it does have the special rule your warlord does not generate saga dice. So I have not picked this one. I like to kill stuff with my warlord. Just kind of spitballing here. Depending on your faction. And we have to remember Age of Magic is in play too and using these scenarios as well. So just coming to me, I'm thinking of like an Irish warlord. A lot of the times they're just hanging back anyways. And they do have some abilities that can kill or make them very hard to kill. So maybe you could pick this one, put your guy out as bait, maybe. I don't.
Yep.
Couple ideas there. Otherwise, in an undead warband, a necromancer.
Yes.
Warlord, who is, you're not going to fight with them anyways. You want to stay away, but you can still do wheelbay and cast spells and provide like a support kind of role. So I think that kind of goes along with your plan. Any additional tidbits there?
Yeah. So my opinion so far, other than like what you're giving, like, good examples of why you might want to choose it, I'm not a fan of my warlord not generating a saga die. That's a pretty big negative. And then secondly, not only are you losing that, but you also, it generally means, like, if you want to make sure he isn't lost, he's not up in the front. So if you're going to keep him and hide him back and he's not going to be bashing stuff, if, for example, if you're playing Age of Magic, I mean, you do not want to pick this one if you have a warlord on a beast. I mean, that just doesn't make sense. They're not in sync. So yeah, it's interesting. There's a few that are good for, but this is one I stay away from. And I throw one last thing too. So the plus minus on this one, the reward for doing this is 4 points, and the punishment, the loss, is 4 points. So there's not any kind of spread. It's exactly down the middle there. It's 4, 4, and 4 if you fail to do it.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's a good point. We'll have to weigh the what's wagered versus what's lost potentially. So yeah, that's a good point. The Saga die, basically, if that wasn't there, I probably would pick this one, because I'm like, well, you don't want to. The plan's not to get them killed anyway, so obviously. Right. A good point about Age of Magic, the Beast. I don't know, picking the Beast, that guy's really hard to kill. Depending on the warband and abilities. Also in Age of Magic, you're playing 8 points. So you just have more Saga dice in general, potentially.
True.
With the little heroes and determination and stuff. So probably more viewable in that scene, but I haven't picked it myself. If we move on to You Will Die, this is the flip of this one. So you just kill the enemy warlord. So this is a pretty good one to pick. If you don't do it, you're only losing 3. Yes. And then it's got a pretty huge upswing. Well, one of the highest ones, I have to say. It actually is the highest one. So
it is the highest.
I'd pick this one probably most of the time. I've only played 3 or 4 games of this, but I think I pick this one every time. Mm-hmm. Just because killing that warlord, it's good. Huge.
And I think it creates a little pressure on your opponent. Like, I mean, if they're paying attention, as they should, to your selection, and they're like, they want to run their warlord out front, but if I pop them and I get 8 points, oh my gosh, that's huge. So I find like my opponents, when I pick this one and they don't, their warlord is in like 3rd rank, so I'm getting a benefit. Even though I may not ever get that warlord, I'm at least keeping him out of the front lines.
Yeah. So if we're gonna get deep into it, Monty, then so the way that you pick is there's a first player, they pick. It flips back and forth up to 4. So if I see Monty pick this one, he's coming from a world. Well, then now I Will Outlive You looks a little bit better, because if the reward for holding back is a bigger
7,
it's a bigger 7.
Now. Yeah,
7 points.
Yeah, so you got to be careful when you drop this. That's a very good point.
So I mean, we could just dig deep and come up with optimal challenge paths for people to select. But I think this is a pretty good bet. You don't lose much for not getting it. So I think it's one of the lowest for failing, too, is a 3. That's as low as it gets. So it's a good safe bet. I'm sure we don't need to tell everybody that. But okay. So up next, we have another, calling this another hide challenge here. I will protect you. At least 50% of your figures were not eliminated by the end of the game. No special rules here. 7 if you get it, 5 if you fail. So, yeah, have you picked this one? What are your...
I have not, but I also don't run the warbands that I think could actually pull this off. Yeah. If I had Scots, if I had Anglo-Saxons, if I had Anglo-Danes, or maybe the undead with their ability to bring back my lost figures, right? Ooh. I know, that's kind of painful, right? Oops, sorry about that one.
Ouch.
But the key is, remember to count all your models before and after the game, right? People just kind of like, you get in a game and you get kind of hot and you're swinging around. You're like, wait, how many models do I have? And you just push them in a big pile. So you do definitely want to have a specific exact count. So like, how close am I to 50%?
Yeah, I'd say a couple of these you got to do some homework, and then so the wording is figures.
Yes.
So I believe that the presence rule would apply to this calculation. Have you guys done that?
So I have a little asterisk down here in my cheat sheet, and I think it's in the book. My asterisk is, note the rules clarify you don't use presence when calculating VP. So I think.
Oh, okay.
I wrote that down. Either I was very drunk, or I actually have this right. No, I think it's B. So yeah, I think that's it. I can dig it out. I made a note. Like I was just trying to get some sheets to help people to speed them along for our game a couple weeks out. So. I think that's right. Well, I'll double check.
Yeah. Do you have access to the book in your reach?
I do. So, Tale of Challenges, if I'm not too rude.
Well, you can...
presence. Yeah, I can just peek real fast.
Just quietly look it up while I...
Yeah, you keep cooking.
Blather on here. So, yeah, you're going to know whether your warband generally survives to this threshold or not. If you are doing a complete non-confrontational hiding game, this one is probably pretty easy to do, but I've never picked it either. I've been playing aggressive warbands in the Tale of Challenges, so I've been leaning towards a different objective that's similar to this, but quite different in a certain way. But yeah, you will know if it's applicable to you. All right, I'm going to move on while Monty's continuing to research.
Yeah,
so it
you
would
never
just
find it when you need it.
Yeah, it would just be under presence, or maybe in the VP section.
Yeah,
I don't believe it's in the FAQ. I looked in the FAQ for stuff.
I don't think so, but I pulled it from somewhere. If I can't find it at my fingertips, I can post below to clarify. Okay. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem. You're ahead of the game on that. I did no research, so that's typical of how I do things around here. Next up, I have I will be your armor. Now, you lost no more than 1 unit during the game, so this is like another hiding objective for me. This one is pretty hard to like. If you're gonna fight, it's gonna be very difficult to get this one. It's certain factions. I'm thinking like a Welsh with a reaction abilities to just be able to scoot off. So whatever, this might be a warband you could do that with, but I've never chosen this one. Have you?
So I wrote this note to help out our players. I literally wrote, I've never seen this happen. I mean, if you end a game and you've lost no more than 1 unit, like what were you doing for 2 hours? I mean, was it a pirouette, a dance, a ballet? I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
But I mean, it could be done, but I mean, boy, it would not be easy to do.
So you have to, it has to be like a funky non-committal game situation. So just be aware of that. If your opponent picks this,
he's telling you something.
Yeah, that's going to be his game plan. So you should probably pick objectives that correspond to that. We shall leave only widows. So I like this one. No enemy units of 6 or more figures are left on the table at the end of the game. And it's 6 if you make it, 6 if you fail. And a little just clarifying, if they don't deploy any units of more than 6 figures, you've automatically fulfilled this objective. So that is amazing against certain armies, but most armies generally have some 8 packs. But I usually pick this one because it's a killing objective. It's not that hard to get units under 6, basically. It's not asking you that much. If you have access to abilities or like an Age of Magic War Machines where you can just plink a unit far off, more power to you. I usually go for this one. How about you, Monty?
I picked this one. My opponents picked this one, so it is one that I think is common knowledge. People like it. I will point out it just occurred to me now. There's just a slight variation in the wording between the two Is that right?
My
Yeah.
card,
It's
or
yeah, right. So it's no enemy units of 6 or more is the first, but then the second statement is if your opponent has not deployed any units of more than 6. That's two different things. So that would be 7, right? Figures to 7.
Oh,
You
yeah, yeah.
automatically fulfill this objective.
Okay. So if you're running an event or something, or just talk to your opponent. I think
that's it.
I would probably go by the 6 or more, the accomplishment.
Yeah, I think so.
So I think you need to be 5 or less.
That's it. I think so. Agree.
The special rule, that's just like a clarification type thing that just muddied the water, unfortunately.
But if Jeremy had met your pagan people with your build that everything's by 6, he points to the second one and go,
But using the former, though, it's really even not that bad because you can have a unit of 6 just way in the back.
Yep.
If there's no way to plink at them, just plink at them.
Like the yams.
Yeah, the yams. Couple other border, the Irish maybe throwing some potatoes back at them.
Yep.
So this one is good, and it's like I said, usually I just play the game, and then around turn 5, I look and see oh yeah, I'm supposed to do stuff. But this one, for some reason, really sits with me. So I know that I need to keep a unit of 6 or more back, and it's kind of hard with my Vikings. So generally, it's going to be one of the levy units, and this could go well with a couple of other objectives. But if you kind of just have a levy unit of archers and some hard ground in your deployment zone, you can kind of foil the opponent pretty easily. Or if they come at you, just more power to you, because they're going to be punished for that, my friend. There just isn't really any point to try to go after those stupid archers and the rocks. Usually I just avoid them completely, but it makes it tough if you choose this one. So one thing is the units sizes aren't decided until deployment, so you get to see the objectives. So just because you're playing a certain faction, you know how I like to do things with little units, perhaps. That doesn't mean I'll end up doing that. So you can kind of throw your opponent off their game too that way, though, as well. So good one. Nice killy ability. I protect my land. No enemy units of 4 or more figures within long plus medium of your table edge at the end of the game. So I liked your comments about this one. Well, one thing is enemy merc units don't count.
It's a big one.
So the wording is mercenaries. So that would be the historical stuff. In Age of Magic, the monsters act similar to mercenaries, but they're not mercenaries. They have the imposing rule, or it might not be that one. Primitive, maybe. Is that the rule that they have?
Primitive. That's right. That means they can't use the Saga abilities.
It's similar to mercs, but it doesn't apply to this based off this wording. So not quite the same, but a clarification. So I like your comment about this one in our little notes there. What did you have to say about it?
So you probably don't want to pick it if you're player 1, because how do you stop your opponent from a turn 6 multi-activation or push to get on your half of the table? Because really the table is 36 inches wide, so all they have to do is just nudge one unit of at least 4 figures onto your half of the table, and boom, they got it.
Yeah, so at first it seems kind of reasonable, like, oh, okay, but then you're like, wait, long plus medium, and then you're like, well, that's just a half.
Exactly.
Just to move like half a millimeter over the halfway point. I'm like, that's definitely going to happen with like multiple units. So you really have to bring the fight to the enemy.
Yes.
And it's just, if you're going to do that, this is like an objective saying like, I'm going to win the game and I'm going to get extra points because of this. So I think there's better objectives to pick than this one. So not so good. But if anybody has had great success with it, let us know. Especially with Age of Magic, you can just have a unit fly over there. You just last turn maneuver, drop in a teleport.
Yep. Surprise.
Yeah, it's no good. Okay. I will crush you. This one is nice. Fulfilled is 5. Failed is 4. You eliminated the enemy unit, which was worth the most massacre points at the start of the game. So this one can be confusing. So how do you play it? Because oftentimes you'll have multiple units that are the most massacre points. So you could play it as you have to pick one, which makes it harder to do, or all of them are worth the most massacre points. So any, this says the enemy unit. It's worth clarifying. I don't know. Has it come up? Have you guys just picked one? We've just been picking one.
But same. We've been picking one. And luckily, in our little world, it seems like guys love the 8-pack of Hearthguard, which just goes right to the top. And since I like to, with some of my builds, I like to bully those 8-packs. This is one that, like, if I know my buddy likes to run an 8-pack, I'm probably going to pick this one because I want to chase and hunt them down.
Yeah, this is a good one because it makes them, that's usually their hammer, so they don't want to. Well, what do I do now? You're trying to kill it.
Imagine that.
So I frequently pick this one, not always, but yeah. If they just have that Hearthguard unit, makes it easy. But if it's just 8-man units of warriors, there's like 4 to choose from, and that when they do have those multiples, that can make it hard to get them because if they have 4 identical units, they don't really have a specific plan, and having one unit hang back that you're trying to kill isn't a big deal versus that Hearthguard unit is a big deal that they can't push it forward. So if you need to kind of know your opponent on some of these and how they like to play, I think. This is a good one though, just for killing. Gives you some focus. I'll choose the Warlord one before I go for this one, but it's a good fallback for sure.
Agree.
I will sack your home. At the end of the game, if you have at least 3 non-mercenary units of at least 4 figures within medium of the enemy table edge. So this is like, I don't know, they needed to like merge these objectives here, and because this one is like way too hard then because you have to get all the way within 6 inches of their table edge. So just to the pure orders and dice allocated to this would be quite substantial. So I've never chosen this one. Even like if I was playing Age of Magic with the Other World and being able to fly over maybe on the last turn, like I still wouldn't pick it, even with teleporting.
Yeah, this is actually so I played as the Welsh recently, and I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to hold back, and I created some small, little units to kind of sweep in at the game. The only problem is, as my warband slowly bled out, I found that I needed to use those little 5-packs like as magic missiles and bail me in certain situations. And then pretty quickly the game comes, I'm like, yeah, I don't have 4-man packs of units left. Even if I wanted to get across the table, they're all whittled down to nothing.
Yeah, so you can't, it's not really a hide, one of the hiding ones, because you have to be in position. So even if you head all the way back, you would need like a full Saga board to move the 3 units across, because there's probably going to be multiple activations. So, there's going to be some fighting. It's just not. It's not going to happen. So it has to be, in their face, fighting your way across type thing, and it's just having to have the 4 figures. So,
it's tough.
Too hard. Maybe in a tournament you could like force everyone to choose this one. At the start. What do you think? That'd make it interesting.
Hustle, get across the table.
All right. We shall die to the last. So this one, It's interesting. 5 if you get it, 8 if you fail, because it should be easy to get because you could just throw your stuff. But at least 75% of your figures were eliminated by the end of the game. So this is the one that when I played Zach, he ended up out objectiving me because I couldn't do this one. So that's a lot of figures to lose. So my warband's pretty big with the 2 levies. Lots of warriors. Yeah. So I was like calculating it. I'm like, I need like less than 14 guys or something like that at the end. So that's pretty difficult to do unless both of those levies are eliminated. So like you really need to play accordingly. I think the Vikings are one of the better warbands to use this one on. Obviously Valhalla is a good ability. Ragnarok especially. There you go. To just push them forward, get your guys killed. So I think for Vikings it is a good pick. Maybe not me per se. I'm a cautious lad, Monty. But
right.
You
can't be bashful. I almost
it's kind of like a fail-safe almost.
Right.
Yeah.
I almost chose this with my Welsh because with that lower armor, they do not survive very long. And I'll be darned, I got nervous. Like you said, I put my count out and I did a head count and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to need to lose all these figures. And you know what? By like turn 6, I had done it. I'd managed to lose, squander my whole army. So I'm like, okay, well, note to self, the Welsh can actually achieve this one if you play them aggressively, like with charges during your opponent's turn with your, activation reactions. You can throw your whole warband away. But if you mess up, boy, that's a big punishment. I think that's the worst one, right? Yeah, that's the most points you can lose.
You can't even get your guys killed, you pathetic bastard.
Right.
If you choose this one, you just need to keep it in mind and keep pushing forward because around turn 4 or 5, it's kind of decided. There's distances between the units. You just need to make sure you have a game plan, I think, more so than some of the other ones with this one here, since I got burned. This next one is, it's a goodie. My fury shall echo through eternity. My fury shall echo through eternity. 6 if you get it, 3 if you failed. So it's a nice little safe one. And then for some reason I never picked it because when I was reading it, I always thought it had to be like a like one combat, but it's definitely not the case. So it's just during a turn in just one of your activation phases. So that just means your turn, essentially. Correct?
Yep, exactly.
So you play an entire turn, and if you kill at least 10 guys, you get it.
You can do that.
So this one is great. You don't have to say when you're going to do it. And if it happens, it just happens. And it's probably going to happen. I mean, if typically you'll have to charge 2 units to make it happen. But maybe depending on your board, you maybe know that you guys just don't got the chutzpah to pull it off. But I think most factions can do this. You might have to just push it and get some of your own guys killed just to push it over. You might have to resolve yourself to that, but I think it's a nice, safe objective to choose.
Right behind you, 100% agree. Yeah, especially if your opponent has levy and you can hit them hard, then oh, levy, good, you're going to help me get to my 10 count.
Yeah, so I told Zach this. If they had a levy and I had this and my berserkers were set up, I'd be like, I'll just trade them. I'll trade the berserkers for the levy. In this case, just the joy of wiping out the levy. Maybe it might be worth it, maybe not, nor in a normal game. But since this objective's up, it's going to be a good one.
Yes, it is.
So after this, we've got First Blood. So this is everyone's favorite and least favorite objective. It can be very interesting and it can be uninteresting, a foregone conclusion. So 3 if you get it, which is nothing, and 3 if you fail it, so it's not a big hit. But the difference between getting it and not is 6 points, so that's like eliminating a unit of warriors or something, a decent size.
Yeah.
So be the first to eliminate an enemy figure during the game. So a couple things here. So if you are melee only, the defender removes their figures first.
Correct.
So if you attack someone, typically, somebody gets killed on both sides. But whoever's attacking is going to have the advantage. They just need to make sure they kill one of the enemies. If you're going first, then probably if you can do this or not. Now, the interesting thing is the person who picks so you roll off for a first player, and the first player chooses their challenges first. Now, they aren't necessarily going to be the first player because the person who chooses the most challenges.
Yes, and if it's a
goes
tie,
first, and then if it's a tie, then it
falls
reverts.
back to the first player.
So this should be one of your last ones, I guess, to choose. If you're going to go first and you're with a cavalry army or have some shooting, it's a pretty safe bet. If your opponent doesn't choose enough challenges and then you have one last challenge, this could let you go first then, and could give you the upper hand. So it can kind of, they kind of got to know the rules of the game here and whether they're making a bad decision about this. So sometimes it's a foregone conclusion. What's really interesting is when you have 2 foot armies and somebody chooses this, because you have to, it's a triple activation.
Yep.
So it's a we obey, 2 dice to get you there, and then you have 1 dice for a saga ability to help win the combat. But if your opponent uses the 2 fatigues, they're going to need 6s to hit.
Yep.
Everything being even. So it's just a real sweaty, uncertain situation. But so in those scenarios, it's pretty fun if somebody chooses this. I think if you have 2 foot warbands, like a true Viking Age battle. In Age of Magic, if you got a war machine or something, or ballista or some archers, or it could be pretty certain that you're going to get this. With the shooting, you never know. So I think the cavalry warbands with some javelins are the tastiest, the best to get this. You could kind of, if your opponent has this, you could like really kind of try to counter deploy, put everybody in the woods and stuff. But you forget that then so they didn't do it the first turn. But now you gotta come out and try to kill a guy, and they probably planned for that. So you could just have an unnecessarily long stalemate over three points, for somebody. So
exactly.
It's just fun to think about. So with the Vikings, so I don't want to choose this. I don't think I have chosen it. But it is like the first objective to come up. So you definitely, if they choose it, you kind of have that in mind with your deployment and everything. So you could deploy all the way back, as much as you want. But in the end, it's just kind of 3 points. So you're kind of throwing. You want to make sure you're not throwing yourself under the bus just to stop them from getting a couple points. Because, usually they'll be able to get it. You just got to make the best of it. Usually they have to send out a unit to go do it. That's going to have to do multiple activations, hopefully. So now they have a unit that's out of position that you can just destroy it, and you kind of bring the points right back, and you kind of move on. And
that's it.
Maybe you're, maybe you got out better on that deal because now they're down a unit. So
agree with all of that, Rodge. That was very well done.
So is it going to be warband specific for you on whether you choose this one?
Yeah, if I have bow, I like it better. If I have mounted javelin, like when I ran the Welsh, I did pick this one and, roll up, throw some javelins. And, like you said, you never know. I don't get a lot of activations. I throw my javelins and if he makes the saves, then, that's a problem for me. But it is. It's interesting. There's actually a lot of thought that has to go into this one for a 3-point payout.
Yeah, so you could. I kind of just move on. Like I don't counter deploy if they do that. So
Yeah,
if
same.
they're going first, they're coming at me. They can maybe get it. Maybe I'll close ranks. Maybe I'll get lucky. Maybe I'll make the dice and they get boned. But so the other thing too is they pick a 3-pointer. So they, depending on how you look at it, maybe wasted a challenge pick on this one. They could have picked one with a higher points value.
That's
that would
true.
have aligned better with them. I think 4 is probably as many as you want, or maybe 3. We can talk a little bit more about that after we do this final one here. So we've got invincibility. So this is 6 points fulfilled, 3 if you fail during enemy turn. You didn't lose a single figure. So it's a little misleading. The special rules, you have to basically declare that this is going on. So it's kind of the flip of the my fury shall echo through. I keep saying echo for some reason. Echo through eternity. But that one you don't have to declare it in advance. So unfortunately, this one has to be declared.
Yeah.
I think it could be a pretty viable one if you didn't have to say that. If it's just they have to come at you each of those last 3 turns, 2 or 3, or you're going to get this. But basically, you're saying it, and then it's before they even roll the Saga dice. So that it's not like they commit to a certain plan, and then you're like, ha, you fool, like you've done it wrong. This will be my invincible turn because you did all rests or, did all the wrong abilities. But they can say, oh, you're going to try for that one, huh? Well, okay, I'm going to kill a guy. So,
just one.
Yeah, so I'm going to use all my dice and kill a guy. Just make sure you don't get this. So
Agreed.
I don't favor this one. It's another hiding one. If you're already hiding, this this one kind of makes them come at you a little bit because they have to be in a position to kill a guy at the start of that, at one of these turns. So if they just stay completely back, then you can get it for sure. But so anyways,
good point.
So we made it through.
Yeah, all of them, all 12.
Yeah. I don't know if that was a good idea, but we did it.
It's a lot.
As it turns out. So a couple points. So you can choose the same one as your opponent. So you could both choose First Blood. And basically it's kind of like a double down type situation. That one in particular over who's gonna make it. There's the first turn mechanic is in play. Whether or not First Blood is happening to you. So you said that you only choose, I think, 2 challenges. I mean, you have to choose 2, and you can choose up to 4.
Up to 4. So I have never won this when I choose 4. And I will say I didn't get the cards until recently, so maybe that'll help me. When you scribble 4 things on a piece of paper, that's not very helpful. It just isn't. But this last time I chose 4. My opponent chose 3. He got 2 of his 3. I got 2 of my 4, and that really bit me in the ass. I thought I could get all 4, and then my warband, like trying to be aggressive and get all my boxes checked here, it just kind of melted away out from under me, and suddenly I'm looking at like my 4 challenges, and I'm like, I don't have enough guys to get this done, and it costs you. That was just me. Okay. Got to keep trying.
Yeah, I guess I have always chosen 4, and I don't think I've done all 4, so there's probably some wisdom there. One thing is I haven't done this kind of analysis we went over to kind of look at these. So I think I may have chosen objectives that weren't necessarily aligned, the kill versus the hide, because if you're trying to keep at least 50% of your figures alive, that can conflict with trying to kill the enemy warlord, because you're gonna have to sacrifice guys to go in there and get it. So just making sure you kind of got a game. I'm going in to kill, or I'm going to hang back.
Yeah.
And these are the 2 or 3 that I'm going to do. And I think you'll be golden. So hopefully we gave everybody some interesting tidbits to savor about the Tale of Challenges. And I hope you go out and try it. It's a really fun scenario.
It really is.
Pilfered from Lion Rampant, apparently. It says it right in there. So,
yep. Yes, it does.
Seems cool. I think it's fun. It's kind of like what could be interesting is doing them in secret, which would be if you had the cards, it would be very easy to do that.
Yeah.
It could be fun. Maybe it would be just kind of obvious, but and then like at the end of the game you reveal, so you don't know like if you had first blood or not. I think some of these it wouldn't work with, because you have to know certain information, like you declare some of them, but that could be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that could be an interesting twist. Worth a try.
Okay, buddy. Well, the marathon continues. We're gonna make it to the.
We're close
to the paint contest. So, thank you to Gripping Beast once again. It was a big success. They're going to be mailing out some goodies here. 9 entries. That's amazing. And as we go through here, it's going to be really cool because we're going to see that Saga is played all over the world here, Monty.
Yes. Yes, it is.
So, well, let's get into it. So we're going to show off the entries in alphabetical order. And we've already talked at length in this episode about things. It's getting close to our bedtime. So probably maybe a quick comment or two if you choose so Monty. But all the entrants were great.
Yes.
It's amazing that we got everybody to paint these.
Beautiful.
So we'll just throw that out there off the bat. Everybody did a great job here. But we'll start off with Alan. So he is from New Hampshire, USA.
Okay.
And he's the fellow with the Twitch channel. He had comments before. We're going to be getting together for a video in the future. So he's a cool guy. He's got a blog going on. He's got a good gaming group. He's got the black hoods here for his Eastern Princes, and they're very cool. Very cool paint job.
Yes, beautiful. Nicely done. Love the paint. Love the standard, and the basing looks like it's right off the steps.
Yeah, really cool. The colors are cohesive, and the basing is well done. So thank you, Alan. Now, I have to say, I think we went overboard with our horse talk last time about weighing in the horses as extra points. We're going to see a lot of cavalry here. So if that got these people to paint the cavalry, that's awesome. But we'll maybe have to rein that in a little bit for next time. Up next, we have Amanda. So I wasn't able to determine exactly where she was from, but she has a Netherlands email address domain. So I think she's from the Netherlands. So she has done up some excellent Pegasus riders. And these are conversions. And these are, I believe, the Bad Squiddo Shield Maidens are riding these Pegasi models.
Yeah.
And these are great. Some nice spring basing on these. I like them. The green is super bright and fanciful and perfect for Age of Magic. I do like the brown Pegasi, Monty. I'm a fan.
Yep.
Same. I don't know. I'm tired of the white ones, man. Like, give me the browns, the Appaloosa,
Right.
Pegasi, you know, the chestnuts. Give them. I want them all. So yeah, great job on these, Amanda. It looks like she's using the very long wire spears.
Yep.
Intact. So perfect for those models. So thank you, Amanda. Up next, we've got Angus, who is from Sydney, Australia, and he did the Victrix. I think these are Viking models.
Yes. Yes, they are.
I believe he said that these were Norse. He was using them as norse-gaels.
Beautiful.
I'm sorry if I did not recall that correctly, Angus, but yeah, these are great models. Just showing off the Victrix stuff once again. Pretty familiar to you, Monty, right?
Yeah, I do recognize these lads. Very nicely done.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Wish I could have got a better shot of the shields, though. It looks like maybe some transfers used. I could just barely see. So next time, get us those shields, buddy. Get that lovely shield work. Up next, we've got Chris from Poland, I believe Poznan, and he's got these are Arthurian cataphracts, and these are great
Beautiful
models. The background is really cool. So I was looking at cataphracts for a long time, potentially for my Romans, and it's like a metal horse. Like, I'm very suspicious of a metal horse. Like, I don't want to get them, but these look great.
Yes, they do.
The detail on them, you know, I just wasn't sure, but I feel a lot better about picking up these gripping beast cataphract horses for sure.
I could be wrong. These might be footsore, and but I mean, it's hard. I only say it because the helmets look like the footsore line.
Okay. Well, maybe,
but I mean, it's a toss-up. It could be either one. The mix of, I really like the mix of metals. That's really nice. It'd be easy to do, you know, bronze or silver, but the mix of both really is effective here.
Mm-hmm. He has chosen the pill-shaped bases for cavalry.
Like that.
So there's a lot of options out there. We've got rectangles. We're going to see circles, ovals, and we got these pills here. So very nice job, Chris. Up next, we have Doug from San Diego, California. And he has these are more shield maidens.
Beautiful.
Bad squiddos. So, yeah, I mean, these look so good with the different colors and everything. So I don't know what it is about, you know, I was talking about colors before with my guys, and if I'm like over analyzing things, and I just need to embrace the madness. But, you know, because you have the colors on the models, and then you have the shield transfers, which look really good too. And, you know, it doesn't match, but it's all cohesive and it's all well done. Like the basing on these guys as well, like the little ship back there, a little flavor.
Beautiful.
A little boost to his paint contest. Chutzpah, for sure.
Agree.
Lovely figs. Next up, we have a little jump here, and we have Martin from Munich, Germany. So you can see we've already got five nations represented. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's awesome.
We got more. So he did. He told me these were, I believe these are Fireforge, but he did them up like the classic questing knights of Bretonia. So I don't know if you know about those, Monty, but they are knights that go on quests, and the official Games Workshop models were like loaded with like all their stuff that they need for camping and stuff.
Okay.
So that's the inspiration for these guys. And these are cool looking figs, nice and bright. Perfect for Age of Magic. So he painted up 6. So more kudos to him, but he had to choose 4 for a legal point. And yeah, nice work. They're Martin. And we have another Martin, Martin Teasdale. So if you're looking at the photos, Monty, it's M. Teasdale. So he's from Quebec City, Canada.
Okay.
And he did up these lovely Scandinavian Crusaders.
Yeah.
That they're on squares. That's all right, but they got nice snow basing, and they're very cohesive, but the colors will really go together well. I really like these figs. Very cool. I like the big, I don't know what it is. The three of them have got axes, and then the other dude's got that halberd.
Yeah,
thing.
wicked looking.
Yeah, like I don't, these four guys walk up. Like I'll fight the other three for sure, but this guy, I'm like, sorry, bud.
I might run. Yeah, I think I run. That's just too wicked looking.
Yeah, my head's coming off. Yeah, it's probably going to stick the spike down the little gullet, and then he can raise it above his head, demoralize the rest of the Adepticon staff. It's going to be a bad show.
Right.
Okay. So nice work, Martin.
Beautiful.
Martin T. We got Mike, who is from Fontana, California, which is in Southern California. So I don't know if that's close to San Diego. Doug and Mike, maybe you guys can create a connection. But he came in with his step tribes.
Nice.
And these guys are modeled on circles. So I do prefer circles for everything, including my cav. So do you use circles for your cav, Monty?
I'm a slow evolution here. I used to use the squares, the 50 by 25s. I now use ovals, so I'm one step away from the circle basis. One step.
Okay. The ovals, they're good. I mean, not as good as these circles here. I mean, look at this. The symmetry. Yeah. Now, the problem was in first edition, you'd be boned really hard for using circles with your cav because you would miss out on a whole bunch of attacks.
Yeah.
But we don't have to worry about that anymore.
Nope.
The hobbyers have won the fight, the modeling crew, and the bases are cool. They're completely overloaded, which I love. Kind of reminds me of what I'm doing for my Eastern Heathens. So he did do the green base edging. So that's classic Games Workshop style, the 90s. What do you think of that, Monty?
If you pick it and you keep it, brown, green, I've even seen people do black, but just consistent. So well done.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe do one in black and see how you like it, Mike. I think you might like it better. I don't know. My preference is the black. Personally, I think it looks best because it would really make the like the actual flock and the rocks and stuff. I think that would pop a little bit better.
Yeah, pop.
That's my personal preference.
Interesting.
Of course, you can do whatever you please, but nice work making them fanciful, and they look with extra details on the reins and stuff like that. They do look pretty wild and untamed.
Well done.
And lastly, we've got Terry in Chicago, Illinois. So I'm guessing we're going to run into him at Adepticon. Do you know Terry? Terry Donner, I believe.
Yes, I do. Awesome.
So cool. Yeah, he just painted up some good old boys. I believe these are meant to be Saxons.
Okay.
Anglo-Saxons, if I remember the emails correctly. So at this point, there's too many submissions for me to remember, and the notes would be too long. But hopefully I got most of it right. I do apologize. If I did not get the manufacturer or the unit correct, please post below and correct me. But lovely entries, very cool, really awesome to see both the different ages. We got some Magic, Crusades, and Vikings mixed in. Do we have invasions represented here?
I didn't see
with Chris.
Chris.
The
the Romans.
The Yeah, Arturians. So,
there you go.
Yeah, very cool. We got the whole swath of Saga represented here. So
yes,
the more entries you get, the harder it is to
exactly.
pick. So we talked about this for quite a while.
Yes, we did.
We'll give an honorable mention to Chris in Poland, because I liked his guys. I thought they were cohesive. I thought the medals were great. Good use of the shields. The thematic backdrop certainly didn't count against him there. But he did not submit the before and after photos that everybody else did. So it wouldn't be fair, since everybody else did it. And that was part of the requirements for the event. We're going to have to take him out of the running, but it was one of my favorites for sure. So nice job, Chris. If you do another contest, just take that before photo, buddy. And thanks to everybody for doing those, because whenever I see one, I just like laugh for like a good 10, 15 seconds straight, because it's me and Monty with our like stupid faces.
Right.
So it serves two purposes: just to verify that the models, were painted for the event, and then the second purpose is to make me laugh. So mission accomplished.
Always a bonus.
Hopefully they're amusing to other people. But if not, I don't know. It's amusing to me. So that's enough. That's enough for me. So honorable mention there. But we our favorite ended up being Mr. Martin Teasdale with his 4 Baltic Crusaders. We really like these guys. They were cohesive. They were different colors, but you could tell they're part of the same war band.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody did a lot of work with the horses, which we appreciate, but we were looking at the shading and his technique, and we thought that he probably did a lot of work too.
Yep.
So we didn't count that against him, that he didn't have any fancy horses. But these guys look really good. So congrats to Mr. Martin Teasdale, and you will win a point of your choice from Gripping Beast, and thanks to Gripping Beast. Now, we do have the random winner. So Monty rolled a D8 before the game. So did you play D&D, Monty? How do you have a D8? We don't need those for Saga.
That is true, and I did used to play D&D, so...
Okay. So
I got all the different dice.
Got stashed away in the drawers there.
Oh, yeah.
So he rolled it up, and the random prize will go to Amanda. So she did great work with her Pegasi, like everybody else, but the luck of the draw has yielded her a point of luxurious models from Gripping Beast.
Nice.
So we are pleased, as always, for all the contributions. Is very cool that we've gotten more and more each time. Hopefully that continues. We will be continuing to do painting contests. So we're going to take a break for next month, but the next contest would be at April, essentially, whenever that episode goes up. So if you are the kind of person that needs to be fully prepared in advance to do a contest like this, just have your models ready to go by April, and we'll announce the next one at that time, the spring Saga THORSDAY paint contest. It'll be fun. So
sounds good.
Okay.
Rodge.
Well, that's gonna about do it for us today. So if you found the show entertaining or helpful, please subscribe and comment. Some comment ideas would be Tale of Challenges. What are your go-to challenges? Another good comment is which contest submission was your favorite based off what you saw? Did we make the wrong call here today, Monty?
Is that possible?
Are we
Maybe.
bad dudes? Are we bad dudes? I don't know. Maybe Martin slipped us a couple Canadian dollars. I don't know. I can either confirm or deny.
Some loonies.
If you didn't like how I pronounced the word eku, you can post that below as well. That's always a top comment, favorite my pronunciation of words. So all the pictures in this episode will be in a folder posted below. So that's new. So you'll be able to look at the submissions in detail. And I also got links to other Saga pages, channels, blogs, and stuff. So we're not the only Saga show in town. You can check out those Saga resources. You can get in touch with me, rodgerules@gmail.com. I'm on Instagram now, so that's cool. Are you a Twitter man, Monty?
Twitter. I had Insta, but I never used it, so just Twitter.
Yeah. I don't know. I've heard Insta's better, but
okay.
I don't. I do have a Twitter, but it's kind of inundated with Warhammer stuff, so I don't go on there that much. But what's your Twitter handle?
Ooh, I think it's
Twin Cities
Gamer. Yeah, I think that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep rinse and repeat. Use it over and over again.
Yeah, absolutely. So is the blog? Is it going strong? I haven't popped over there for a while.
Yeah, it's resting. I went in there, and because of the problem with the photos, I took 30 minutes. I rebuilt one post. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is painful.
Oh, yeah, I got demolished. Right?
Yeah,
so
yeah, it did.
Happened.
For the older posts, so.
It's in torpor right now.
Oh, yeah, it's a rest.
Vampiric torpor. But awesome. Well, yeah, we're on Twitter, Insta. You can email me. We both hang out on the Saga Facebook group. That's the place to be. So we'll see you on there. And thanks for watching. And we'll see you next time. All right?
See you, Rodge.
See ya.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Saga.